friends, we're going to go pretty in depth with our major pentatonic. This is something that does get missed. The reason this gets missed is if you just take your minor pentatonic, which I love so much, right? And if you play that same exact scale, where your first finger falls is your minor pentatonic. Now, if you take that same scale where your pinky lies is your major pentatonic. So your A minor pentatonic and your C major pentatonic are note-wise the same scale. This is why the major pentatonic gets lost. We learn the minor pentatonic first, and then we sort of take it as a 2-for-1 deal, you know? Oh, I learned that scale. Cool, I get the major pentatonic too. That's awesome. And that's not the case. That is actually so far from the case. Reason being, the whole note structure is different. How you play it is different. And it becomes a problem when it isn't. And that's the problem that I'm seeing in a lot of people's playing. Let me give you a quick example. If I have this, right, and I play my minor pentatonic, right, if I play all of that stuff, kind of throwing in a little bit of the blues scale there. If I do that, but now I'm going to play those same notes, but I'm going to play it in a C major. So now I have something like this. It doesn't work. All the notes were the same. There's so many things happening in there, from note choice to accent, inflection, bends, whatever it is, that makes it such a different scale and such a different playable scale. Like the way that we play it is massively different. So let's go over what I'm doing just right here. Okay, there's a few things happening. Number one, I'm just starting on my root note and I'm just going up the scale. When I get here, I'm giving a little bit of a bend. That is my, scale tone wise, that's my fourth, right? That's the fourth to the root note. If you guys don't know the numbers, that's fine. Okay, just stick with me a little bit. And I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of a bend. That's my minor third. I can give it a little, nice little tag on bend. I'm not bending it up a half step or a whole step. Just giving it a little boost. If you guys listen to a lot of Zeppelin, you know, Zeppelin, Jack White, whatever, you know, all the sort of riff rockers, when they hit those notes, you can hear it in Heartbreaker. When he hits that or this, it's just a little bit of a bend. It doesn't go up to the next note, just a little bit of a bend. The flat 7 and the minor third, right? The root note, that's our stabilizing note. I can bend the fourth a little bit, bend that minor third, give it a little bit more. The minor third is very much a tension note, all right? So if you're looking positionally, but when I get that, that's my root note. That's my home base. I don't want to bend that up. If I do, oh, it sounds terrible, okay? Now, if I take the same position, okay, not the same note, not the same note number. What am I looking for? Like note quality, not the same note quality. And I do that over the C major, right? Now what I have when I'm up here is, that's my second. This is now my root note. So when you're playing your major pentatonic, right? When you're playing your minor pentatonic, that's your root note, that's your root note, that's your root note. Ah, that E is always out of tune on my guitar. But when you're playing in a major, this is your root note, then this is your root note, and then this is your root note. So we got to think about this differently now. Now the same rule applies. We don't want to bend that root note up, okay, at all. So when I'm doing for that A, I don't want to bend that. right? That's such a bendable note every time we get there. You know, and this isn't. Okay, but when I'm on my C, nope, there it is. Ooh, ooh. Terrible if I bend that up. It's now my root note. So now I gotta play that note differently. I gotta hit that note differently. I gotta know that that's my root note. So, cool. I can bend this a little bit, right? That 2, that's my 2. Give that a little bit of a bend. If you bend it a little bit, it kind of has that minor third sound or major sound, if you guys that are following along theory-wise. So you can give that a little bit of bend. Definitely not this. And this, when I hit that note on my A, my root note, I hit that with such passion. That's my ending. That's my stabilization. It doesn't work that well. Cool, but it wants to go back to that root note. That's my 6. That's my 6th scale degree. So it wants to go back. So you don't have the option of really nailing that note in there, right? And then not bringing it back to that. So this whole scale plays completely differently. All right. So that's sort of like the introduction in how to move around in the scale. So if I show you guys the typical, I mean, you guys probably have the typical like some of the minor blues licks down. So let's go through like a little bit of what's happening here. We're talking about major as a pentatonic or as a blues scale. This blues in A minor, right? It adds that extra note. So instead of just our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes, it's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to our root note. So then the major blues is the same thing. That's now my root note. Okay? But just as the positions make the note qualities change, the numbers of those notes change, the degree of those notes change, it does with a blues scale. So now I have a 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, tritone, 5, flat 7, and 1. Right, so 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7, 1. Right, all the way up. That's my blues scale for... And if you listen, that note, man, that blues note really sticks out. I mean, it's that tritone. That's the sound it gets. Really drills in there. In a C major, you can use all the same notes. Sounds a little different, right? What we have is a 1, a 2 for our C major pentatonic, I'm sorry. Our 1, a 2, a 3, a 5, and a 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, right, scale degree wise. If I add the blues note in there, 1, 2, minor third, 5, 6. So now you're kind of messing around with a major, so if I do it here, 1, 2, major third, 2, 1, 1, 2, minor third, right? And that gives you that same, it really drills in. Why does that have the same effect as the blues note did for our blues shuffle? Is if I have, I'm hitting that minor third, but it's kind of a major chord. So it gives us that same punch. So that note positionally has the same impact, right, as our blues note, our flat 5 for our A minor, or or our minor third for our C major, right? So these are the ways that you can really navigate each one of these scales. I'm going to take this a little bit, I want to take this a little bit further. When we're learning our minor pentatonic, and I had a great lesson about this today that I'm going to post, is a lot of people will say, their solos will get a little bit boring, and then they'll say, well, teach me another position of the pentatonic. That's not going to help unless you understand that that's your root note. So if I move up here, that's my root note. If I move up here, that's my root note. I'm going to show that in the next lesson, because I had a really great one with a student today. So learning the other modes of the pentatonic don't help. It doesn't give you any more notes. But what I will say is learning this as the minor pentatonic is fine. I love it, right? I rarely move from it. But learning it as a major pentatonic isn't that good. How we should learn the major pentatonic is actually this. So if I do like 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. Now that gets hard because we don't have that straight backbone like we do with the minor pentatonic, you know what I mean? It gets a little tricky. There's a reason that I think that becomes more effective. This is now our root note. And it sets us up for learning all of the major modes, right? If I take the major scale, Ionian, right? Or if I do Lydian, or if I do Mixolydian. It's all based right there. Right. So that's the same when we do modes of the minor. I have my minor pentatonic, right? I can do natural minor. I can do Dorian, right? Or I can do Phrygian, can I? So, and that's all, they all fit in the minor pentatonic. So that's the only reason I think it is effective to learn that position of the for the major. It just gets a little hard to mess around in. So that is a lot of some of the issues I see with that sort of like, oh, this 2-for-1. I learned my minor pentatonic, now I know my major pentatonic. You know, and kind of giving you guys an idea of how to play differently, right? So again, you know. Cool, right? That works. Or totally, or I'm sorry. I don't want to go too far away from that. When I do the major pentatonic, I guess I'll show you guys this. Kind of rolling on this lesson. That's kind of how I play it, right? And there's a reason. There's a secret, not a secret, but there's a reason that I do that. There's a reason a lot of players do that. I did not make that up. There's a reason I learned that by playing what other guitar players do. Is when you're up here, you're kind of like in that perfect position, and instead of playing the root note there, right, as our major, you sort of play it here. Still gives you access to this note if you want to throw it in, but also that's the chord that we're playing. C major. Sorry, I played the sharp 4 there. So now you kind of have this idea. So another way you can kind of picture the pentatonic is coming off of that. So if I do it, let's say here at E, right? My E bar chord. That backbone set for that major pentatonic is that part of my bar chord. That minor third. Kind of hear that really peeking out. So I hope this helps anybody that sort of is getting into this sort of improv. Whether you know the major pentatonic, maybe you know, and this is like your first introduction to it, which should help, or maybe you kind of learned it, but you don't really know why it's the same notes, you know, relative major, relative minor, and this kind of gets you moving around and using it over a major chord progression, right? Minor over either a minor or like a blues chord progression, and the major over a major chord progression. And then when you're ready, you can kind of get this sort of like kind of switch back and forth between A minor and A major, which would be really cool. Maybe I'll do a little bit more of an in-depth lesson on that because this one's getting a little long. All right, cool. I hope that helps everybody. It is getting late. I am going to go to bed. Now I'll probably practice. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.